Hello, this is Josh Woods with Dog Psychology 101, and our topic today is going to be small dogs and their common behavioral issues. I think a lot of us have seen that small dogs can have some, ill-behaved manners, or maybe they seem to have more problems than other dogs, more common. I will hit on this, and this applies to all dogs, and I'm going to start with, I'm not judging anybody. You got to live your life and do things how you want to do, but to kind of understand where a lot of this comes from is how we allow them to do things because they're small and they're cute and it's convenient and it's fun, or for whatever reason. They don't generally have to live a life with requirements to be respectful of rules or manners. Here's really what I want to get across for everybody to learn to think about, and you can adjust how you see fit, I guess. But understanding why things happen, or why they get out of control, or why you can't get them under control. If your dog doesn't have to have manners, because I call this pet parenting. I have learned to not to see anything different than I would my children, regardless of what dogs are doing. If my children were doing the same thing in the same moment, is it appropriate for the moment? And so let's say, for example, I've recently had a story that came across me that a Chihuahua bit a human. We'll just kind of leave it at that. But it was sitting in their lap while they were eating, and then they got bit over food. This is a grown dog. It's not a puppy. It's not a baby. And again, I get it. It's cute and it's sweet, and you like to hold them or for whatever's going on. But I've learned to push those emotions and feelings aside so that I can see what's really healthy for the dog, especially long term. And my kind of way of learning to think about it is, this is an adult dog, and we are sitting in a chair eating, and I've replaced the dog with a human. So this is my grown child, my teenage child. Would you let them sit in your lap while you're eating? And they get away with a lot of these little underlying things. And it's not that we can't have them in our lap, but that's not an appropriate time to do it. And especially with a dog who's not had enough requirement to be thoughtful or have good manners, they kind of become the king or the queen of the house. And then if they feel inclined to steal your food, bite you over the food, argue with you, not like what you're doing, there's a multitude of reasons a dog can be reactive, whether it's aggressive or barking or not listening, or whatever the case is. They've not had to live a life where the thoughtfulness is there. Dogs naturally living amongst each other have to have rules and manners, or there's arguments and a hierarchy is established, understandings are established, and that's why they don't really have rules or issues amongst each other naturally. We miss that, and it's all us not implementing the right logic and doing things in the right time and place. And it's hard, and you're fighting your natural human instincts, but it's not good for them. And I really can't be that upset with a dog who is behaving in a way that they don't know any different. I don't excuse it, but if you've been catered to your entire life and rarely been told no, or even when you are told no, nobody follows through if you don't respond. Why would you listen if you don't want to? If you have an inkling to do something, or an idea pops in your head, you're going to probably go with it. And why would you not? It's just you've been spoiled in a bad way. Spoiling doesn't have to be bad, but spoiling, it's like our children. If you spoil them and there is no structure, there's no boundaries, there's no limitations, you don't teach them how to be respectful of themselves and others, they're not going to be. We don't typically speak very fondly of human beings who have grown up completely spoiled, the whole silver spoon in your mouth, been hand-fed everything, and never, not necessarily had to earn or work for things, but treated like the spoiled little prince, like out of the movies. You become a spoiled little entitled brat, is I think what most of us would call it. And how many of us are allowing our dogs to feel that way? Whereas if you keep your mind in the right place, you can have both. You can spoil and give them way more than they need. You can do all kinds of things, but you've got to also be willing to recognize when things are getting a little out of hand, or we need to have some balance, and give them some rules. Waiting, slowing down, being respectful. That's the whole key. And it's a discipline upon us that will give our dogs more freedom. Dogs being in the kitchen, I'm going to hit on two sides of this. Natural dog, instinctual side, and then some human reasons as why we should not have dogs in the kitchen when we are, especially food involved, prepping, cooking, groceries in the kitchen. Naturally for dogs, even though our domestic dogs are not wild dogs, it's just part of their world that's stronger than it is ours. It's disrespectful to be around food when the boss is there. And you're not setting limitations and boundaries that help them have good rules, manners. It's a safety issue. You're dealing with sharp objects, hot pans, boiling water, maybe boiling grease. It's a safety issue for us, for them. What are the potential your dog's there and you turn around with a pot of boiling water or hot grease and you trip over the dog? Who gets burnt? Maybe you, maybe them, somebody gets hurt, makes a big mess. These are all things that are avoidable, so there's multiple reasons. But I can tell you, it's a common thing that I see that most people don't think much about, that the dogs are in the kitchen at times that they shouldn't be. I'm not anti-dogs in the kitchen, but there are times that they shouldn't be in the kitchen. And for me, it's just kind of a normal thing in general. If I'm cooking or I'm doing things in the kitchen, I kind of kick everybody in my family out of the kitchen anyway. Like, I want it to myself. I need my space. I need the room. I need to be safe. It's just learning to kind of apply the same things to the dog.